Hi, I'm Marie McCanyo. I'm a writing coach and a published author, and I'm here to talk about the inner critic. And I suspect that everyone has an inner critic in there somewhere. So I just want to help you get a little more acquainted with your critic, and also just ways that you might be able to move past that critical voice. Really, the inner critic is doing its best to keep me safe. It's doing its best to keep you safe. And the whole intention of it is to keep you small, to keep your voice from being heard. And yet all of us have something really powerful to say, something really powerful to share. And the voice of the critic is not the one to listen to if you've got some really powerful things to share. So for example, here I was today getting ready for these videos, and there's a part of me sort of going, you don't want to do that. You're no good at that. What the heck are you doing? And I'm sort of going over here, thank you for sharing. I've made my commitment. I'm going to go ahead and I'm doing these videos. And you know what? They can be the worst videos in the world, and it's better than listening to you over there. Oh, that's not very good. So here I am. I have let the critic move to the side, and I'm letting myself do the worst video in the world. And you know what? Chances are it's not going to be the worst video in the world. I've done this before. And whenever I tell myself it can be the worst whatever in the world, I'm always amazed at how it turns out better than the worst. So give yourself permission to do the worst whatever it is in the world. And I suspect that you'll be amazed. In fact, if you want to let me know how it goes, and get in touch with me and say, hey, I tried doing the worst painting in the world, the worst photograph in the world, and I was amazed. I'd love to hear stories like that. Anyway, that's just one of the things that'll help you in terms of dealing with that inner critic. Another point about the critic is just to know what part of your project you're on. So for example, for me, it's with writing. If I'm just starting with an early draft, that's not the time to bring my critical eye to the draft and start to worry about revisions and getting everything perfect. At that point, what I'm really concentrating on is getting my words out, and I'm not worried about grammar, punctuation, flow, correct words, anything. So inner critic really doesn't have much place in those early drafts. If you're doing a painting, it would be the same thing. Or if you're doing photography, know where you are in your own process and don't let the critic start to move in when it's not the right time in your project. That's really a very important thing to remember. The other thing is a lot of times the inner critic will come up when you've got a really good idea. And sometimes the best ideas are when the critic comes up the loudest. So pay attention to that voice in your head. If the volume is getting louder and louder and louder, very often that voice can actually tell you and guide you to, this is really powerful material over here. So when my inner critic is over here going, man, that is just the worst idea ever. Who are you to be doing that? I'm over here going, now I recognize it. It's like, wow, this is really great material. I better take this out there and do something with it. And over here, it's like, oh man, don't do that. And it's like, so I start to recognize that tension in the energy, and it guides me to, there's power here. This is where the creative juice really is. This is what needs to come out. So I'm here to encourage you, to support you, and to just say, you know what? There are so many ways that you can get past that inner critic. These are just a few. If you want to find out more, you can get in touch with me through my information with this video. There's a contact page. Get in touch. I'd love to have a conversation with you. If you like this content, please share with your friends. That's really important too. We all need to know more about this. Thank you.